What up, y'all? Today's episode of the RV Voice is brought to you by RVFix. And let me tell you, if you've ever found yourself stranded with an RV issue miles from the nearest service center, you know how frustrating that can be. Well, that's where RVFix comes in. Imagine having a master RV tech right in your pocket. Yeah, you heard that right. With RVFix, all it takes is a quick phone call and boom, you're connected via video call with an expert who can guide you through fixing your issue, saving you both time and money. And here's the kicker. Try RVFix risk-free with a 14-day free trial. You'll need to enter your card number just like most subscriptions, but don't worry, you won't be charged until after the trial ends. If you decide to continue, please use the code RVVoice at checkout. This really helps support the RV Voice and keeps us going strong, and we really appreciate it. Seriously, guys, this is a game changer. Stay on the road and keep your RV in tip-top shape with RVFix. Learn more at RVFix.com. Welcome to another episode of the RV Voice. Today we got a special guest. Why? Because they're actually here. Peoples and Places. We got Ashley and Rob from Peeples. Ashley, Rob, and Peeples, right? It's Peeples. That's actually how you spell their name. So, welcome, guys. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Shane, my co-host. Sorry, it's kind of weird. I've never had it right here.
It works out, though. It fits.
It does. It fits. It's going to work out. It's going to be great. So, anyway, guys, we want to kind of hear your background. You started full-time RVing a little while ago. You're in a KZ Fusion right now. It has a little bit of issues right now, but we'll talk about that later. How did you come about this whole personal journey of walking into or driving into full-time RVing?
Do you want to tell us? You want to? It's your
Sure,
dream first.
yeah. So in, June of 2020, we decided to go looking at RVs. And if you know my husband, you don't just look. He's a decision maker, pretty quick. So we went, and I didn't even know what a Class A was. That's how, in the know I was in the RV industry. I did not grow up camping or anything like that. And
You grew up tent camping.
One time. Where my parents almost got a divorce, by the way. Which is ironic because they full-time RV to this day. But that's a whole other story. So anyway, fast forward, we went looking for an RV just for fun, and we walked away saying we want a Class A. And within 24 hours, we were driving down to West Virginia with a rental vehicle, and we bought our Class A in West Virginia. We named it Georgina, and we went on a 2-month trip in the fall.
We went on a 2-month trip to Tennessee, Georgia, Kentucky, that kind of area. And honestly, she fell in love with it, and she started kind of wondering, I think, of could we do this full time? And she even mentioned it to me, and I said, "You are nuts. You're nuts."
But it was your idea in the first place?
It was not my idea.
No, just to have a camper.
To have a camper.
Okay.
Okay. Weekend warrior. That's what I wanted to be. Was a weekend warrior.
Not my idea.
Absolutely not. No. And she was like, "Could we do this full time?" I was like, "No way. No way." And
so I knew, as his wife, I just needed to come up with a dangling carrot that was the right one. So of course I'm scouring social media trying to find the right carrot, and I came across a toy hauler that had the deck down by some beautiful water, and I was like, haha, this is it. I ran into the living room while he was
baited me. Absolutely. Because that's the reality is your toy hauler is not always next to water. Let's just be honest.
True.
Sometimes it's next to a bush.
But it was just last week, so there's
2 bushes.
Yeah, 2 bushes.
Anyway, so what was it? I feel like within a week we were back at the dealership, and
honestly, it was amazing because we basically took our Class A and traded in and got our toy hauler, even swap. I think we had to pay $600 tax or something like that.
Yeah,
that was it.
We're saving. Wow. This is the fast version. We even bought a truck to dinghy tow in the back of the Class A that we had for 3 months. And then we quickly realized that truck can't haul a toy hauler. So we had to buy a new truck.
Oh, my goodness.
To haul the toy hauler we had just bought.
So we lost our shirts on the truck.
Yeah.
And all the things that went with it to dinghy tow. In fact, I left it in my parents' house after they moved out. I don't know what happened to it. I think the people that live there now, they have it.
So
for some reason.
Well, I'm glad you found your shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lost our shirts in that truck.
So from the time the idea transpired was like November, after we got back from our long trip, and we were full-time we launched in March.
Yeah, that was our shakedown trip though.
Yep.
Right? So
No.
March?
Well, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so we didn't sell the house until May. So we took a long trip. I hired my assistant at the time, and I said, you can make money by selling everything in our house. And while I'm gone, we'll just put it up on Facebook, like a Facebook group. And she got 20% of whatever she sold. So my Ring doorbell was going off the hook all the time.
wow.
People coming in and out, selling literally everything we had. Well, we were on our 2-month adventure. When we came back, we didn't have much left except for like garage sale stuff.
That's actually a really creative way to go about it. So I was going to ask you that. Let's unbox that a little bit. So just so we make it clear, so if somebody's an aspiring family who wants to be full-time RVers, but they might be in the same situation, they want to sell their house, they want to get, that's a whole nother component to this thing that like people don't really think about. Like one, they always say, well, where are we going to, we got to sell our stuff, but how do we do it? You had your assistant sell your stuff while you guys were out on the trip to try to clear out the space and then just finish it up when you guys got home with whatever was left. That's what it was.
Yeah,
Yep.
we paid her a 20% commission. So 20% commission on anything she sold.
She had a fat envelope of cash.
So if you want to go full timing, you got to get an assistant
First and foremost.
to sell everything you got.
Or just get your
just a
niece or
family
your
member.
nephew.
Yeah, a family member or a friend that like a stay-at-home mom that would like to come over on the weekends and sell everything. It's doable. She just happened to be my assistant for like my direct sales business, but I mean, it worked.
I actually think it's brilliant. I think that's brilliant that you did that because that's a whole, like I've always had that question for those who are doing full-time RVing. It was like, how do you get everything out of your house? I had a friend of mine at ClickFunnels in my last job that literally sold their stuff. They worked from their RV and they sold their stuff in Houston and were driving around, but they were talking about how much of a pain that was. I don't think they followed your model on doing that, but it was a pain. They couldn't get rid of everything fast enough, so they donated a ton of stuff. Therefore, they lost a lot of money on it because they could have earned some cash on it. So anyway, that's just something that I was thinking when you were talking about. I'm like, that is a brilliant way of still getting something out of it, and everyone wins.
Yeah,
so,
the more you talk to this woman here, the more you're going to realize that she's very strategic in everything that she does. And so the fact that she, like, I don't know, came up with this idea, I was like, oh, okay. You mean I don't have to do any of that? Awesome.
Well, I think in my mind, it's just like, when a, family member or a couple passes away, right? A company comes in, and they do essentially the same thing. I forget what it's called. I'm struggling to remember, but
like an estate sale.
An estate sale, essentially.
Yeah.
So it was essentially an estate sale, right? But nobody needed to know like what I was doing.
Yeah.
A lot of friends, family came out and bought a lot of our stuff. Like I still talk to a friend today, and she has my desk.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's kind of fun. Yeah.
Now there are some things that we ended up selling in a yard sale that I was like, we could have used that.
Oh, yeah.
Plenty of
So
things.
what were those things? Let's talk about that.
Gosh, she sold. So I am
Pampered
the cook.
chef.
I am the
Sold a
cook.
lot of
Yeah, I am the cook in our house, and so she sold basically all of my Pampered Chef stuff.
Ouch.
And I was like, are we not going to eat on the road? Are we not going to make dinners?
It was heavy.
Like, yeah, she was thinking about weight and things, and I was thinking about just ease of cooking, right? Because Pampered Chef makes things easier. But what else? I mean, there was a number of things that we had to go rebuy because we're like, oh, whoops.
I honestly don't remember. I feel like we're so far removed.
Yeah.
In almost 4 years.
Like that's in the past, honey. You
I
don't remember
I
those
do.
things. You move forward.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter
The
anymore.
truth is, it's not that she doesn't remember. She just doesn't care to remember.
So I do have this downsizing checklist on our website that you can grab for free. So it pops up. It's peoplesandplaces.com, and it will pop up downsizing checklist. I have a few other resources that you can pull from that. I think there's a Google spreadsheet.
What's the website? We'll plug it in.
Peoplesandplaces.com.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And then where do they find the downloadable
pop
checklist?
up right when you.
Oh, it's a pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pop up or it's under
resources. I think.
Yeah, resources.
Awesome.
Just literally rolls into the next question.
Perfect.
Cool.
Preparation and planning. How in the hay did you do it?
I mean,
This is one way.
So this is all her. So I'm going to let her just talk.
All right.
What do you want to know?
Mute your mic. No, anyway. So preparation and planning to go full time. I'm guessing you guys had a decent house, wonderful house, sold everything in it. as well. Someone else sold it for you, but it was awesome that you could do that, right? And to plan to go out full time is no joke. I mean, you have to turn into a remote job. I sound like you kind of might have been remote. Okay, Rob, what do you do?
So I was a youth pastor for 10 years, and so I worked at different churches throughout those 10 years and everything. And after that, I went into real estate, which I really loved because I helped people find, their dream home and everything like that because I was living in my dream home.
Yeah, which was on wheels,
right? No,
this is the time.
House. The house is it was like
sore subject.
No, not a sore subject. No, but like at the time, I felt like I was living in my dream home. So wanted to help other people find that, and obviously you cannot sell houses on the road, so had to move on from that, and basically for a year I was retired.
Nice.
Sounds wonderful.
Awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
So how else did you go about prepping and planning to become full-time RVers then?
I feel like I took it in segments, like selling the big stuff first, the things that I was probably like more attached to because it was a lot of money and I didn't want my assistant to get the 20%. It seemed natural to me, right? The big furniture, duh. Yeah. So those are like the low-hanging fruit, I guess. So we sold a lot of the furniture. We were like sleeping on the mattress, like on the floor. And then naturally I opened up a Facebook group, like I said, and I invited like all of my friends and everybody on Facebook to join that group if they were interested and they were local, that they could do that. And then whatever I couldn't sell on Facebook where they could come and pick it up at my house, I think I put it in the newspaper as well. I think I did. It's kind of foggy. Anyway, and then the third step was we came back and it looked like somebody had raided our home. I'm not kidding. Like there was like hardly anything left. And so it was either, well, I said, I guess 4-step approach, right? The third step was a garage sale. So we did that 2 weekends in a row. And then we donated the rest. And then really it was like, at the end, we did not intend on getting a storage unit. My goal was to literally have nothing left. And when we got to the very end, we were like, oh my gosh, we need a storage unit.
Well, there's a lot of like keepsake things, like, like sentimental things. And then like for her, it was like this Amish made outdoor patio thing that she's like, I can't let that go.
Yeah.
I just bought
it's like
that.
that poly-resin.
You did.
Is that what it is? Anyway. Yeah, it's a big job, but if you take it in chunks and you plan it out and you divide it out and you're strategic, it's not too bad.
Yeah,
I feel like.
Well, her parents also came up to Ohio with us. They did the yard sale with us, so her dad did a lot of the heavy lifting with me and moving stuff out of the house. And
you should tell me about that story.
Why?
Oh,
why? No, I want to know.
So
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
So my parents had been on the road part-time. Like they had a house in Florida, and then they would go travel for like 4 or 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was like 6 months, right? Well, then they were like, oh, we'll come up and we'll help you with the grandbabies. You can go ahead and do the garage sale stuff, and we'll be there. Well, Rob was a realtor. We had actually a rental property we had for 10 years. It was our very first home, and we were selling our house at the same time, like to make matters
So
worse.
You were selling both properties?
Both properties,
okay.
And he was the real estate agent. So at the time, it was like really chaotic. And so we knew we needed help. All that said, my parents, 2 weeks in, decided, we're going to sell our house in Florida. And we're going to go full-time.
Your parents or his parents?
My parents.
Okay. Wow.
And at the same time, his parents were selling their massive property in Ohio.
Goodness gracious.
It was a lot. The whole family was like upset the fruit basket.
It was a good commission.
In 1 month. It was a great commission.
It was a really good commission.
Anyways.
Good thing you were a real estate agent at the time. Yeah. Cash money.
So my parents left their little poodle dog with us. And for a week, we were without them, essentially, as they were selling everything in their house.
I totally forgot about
then
that.
They
left us in the middle of it.
Yeah, and they flew back. We launched at the same time, in the same month. My parents are still full-time RVers to this day. 2 grateful glampers, if you want to check my cute little parents out. Yeah, that's kind of how that that story went.
Wait, where do we check out your parents' stuff? Like
Two Grateful Glampers.
Yeah. Is it on Instagram?
Yeah, Instagram.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, let's mark that down. Okay, that's awesome. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
She's like master route planner. Yeah, they're cute.
That's so
She's
cool.
got all the notes of like all the great things to see in all the areas. Have they been to all 50 states now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they have.
Do you guys ever cross paths with them in your travels?
On occasion.
On occasion, yeah.
They don't utilize like the 1,000 trail system like we do, so they'll do like a lot of state parks. So that's a little bit of a challenge for us to get together during the summer. But in the winter, we'll usually come back to Florida and we see each other mostly in Florida.
So cool. I had a question to bounce off of that from an emotional standpoint for you guys. Obviously, everyone's uprooting out of their homes. You just mentioned that. I mean, there's like 4 things happening all at the same time. But for your parents, so the in-laws and then yourselves launching at the same time, you had 2 homes there. What you considered was your dream home at the time. I'm sure you guys are excited for this new venture you're about to go on. There's a whole new step of life. But from an emotional standpoint, did you feel like it took a toll on you emotionally for a little while? Or were you guys like, okay, cut it and ready to go?
That's a great question.
Yeah, I think we actually did film some of our reactions to like of the empty house, and I don't think it really hit us until we went into the house and it was completely empty, and all those memories that you had in that house just come flooding back. Right?
Sure.
And so you do think about that stuff. And honestly, I think our daughter Abby took it the hardest. Like when we first started getting on the road, she actually was having panic attacks and things like that, and she was constantly thinking about like I don't know if she felt homeless or what, but like she kept remembering like things at the house, and
I think we had to actually physically bring her to the storage unit and show her we did not get rid of everything.
Yeah.
And that helped her a lot. But yeah, she struggled. One thing that really helped her is we would put frankincense oil in her hand, and we would, like make her like ball up and like her knees close to her chest and take deep breaths. And for whatever reason, it literally made all the world of a difference. But I think some adults are built more to have like things attached to memories. Like I can say my brother is definitely like that. For me, I am not sentimental. I never have been. My kids brought me home like a piece of artwork. It would immediately take a picture and throw it into the trash. And I didn't think anything of it. Like,
Ruthless.
I know. I was literally built for RV life and I didn't know it, at the time. Yeah. Minimalism, like actually it lifted like all the stress from my shoulders and probably put it on him.
She's like, I feel great. I was over here like, dude,
dying. Just light it on fire. No.
But like cleaning a large house and like going up and down the stairs for laundry and like just stuff like that. Like it's a lot.
Yeah. We had an upstairs laundry room, which again was a dream of ours. Just saying.
All stays upstairs then.
Yeah.
For the most part.
All the clothes and everything stayed upstairs.
That is true.
Yeah, exactly. So
if you look back on it now, guys, with the girls, obviously going through that at first, probably a big transition, but like, would you say they're overall pretty happy now and they love the lifestyle, or does it go in waves?
Yeah.
So it goes in waves, I think. One really good thing that we did even before we got on the road is we actually got a timeshare. And I know a lot of people like poo-poo on timeshares, but for us, it works.
Yeah.
So whenever we're feeling like we're a little crammed and we need to like spread out a little bit, like we look for a timeshare in the area that we're in, and we go into that timeshare, and it's like a 2-bedroom or
utilize the bathtub.
Utilize the bathtub because we don't have a bathtub. Don't talk to me. And really just like the kids get that sense of being in a home again.
Yeah.
And I think for that week it's good, but you can see how much they just spread. I mean, their clothes are everywhere.
It's a recharge.
Yeah. But it's really it's been really good to have that timeshare, to be honest. So I think that helps them not desire to get off the road as fast.
Yeah. Well, that's a really good point, though, right there, because like a timeshare, that's something I wouldn't even have thought of. Like, honestly, like, so those little things that you've already mentioned in regards to how you sold your property, like you sold all your stuff, a timeshare for that specific reason. I think that's if you have the means to do it, I would encourage the full-time RVers to look into that as an option. Yeah. Because that totally makes sense. So
yeah, I mean, you could do an Airbnb as well.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be a timeshare, but you could do Airbnb. But
yeah, we got it long before we ever had RV life in mind.
Oh, sure. Okay.
And we paid it off, and so really, it's just dues every other year, and so it's been really,
not all
really
of them are
us.
created equal, but if you find the right one, and it makes sense. I think the biggest thing is time flexibility and location flexibility.
Yeah.
And if you have those two things, I think it can be great.
Yeah,
super cool.
Yeah.
We check in with our kids every once in a while. We ask them, hey, do you still like being on the road? Are you still having fun? Are you enjoying this? And
they enjoy it more when they're on friends.
Yeah,
that's what we found. Or when they're doing, like, they're busy having fun, doing adventures, and we do those a lot, obviously. But it's when those moments where there's no friends around and we're not really exploring an area and we're like kind of hunkered down, we're like working for the week kind of thing.
Yeah.
That those are the moments they're like, oh,
yeah,
I want a house, but.
Yeah. So those are the weeks that are kind of like vacations for us. Like we'll work with like local tourism boards and different things that in different areas to try to get experiences, obviously in exchange for content or whatever.
Getting paid too.
Or getting paid to do it as well. And so I think those weeks they really like because they feel like they're on vacation, because for the most part we do live a vacation lifestyle, right?
Sure.
We go all over the place, we see different things, and so I think when we have those kinds of weeks, it recharges them. And they're like, oh, okay, like we're not like homeless or trailer trash or
trailer trash,
right?
They'll
the
learn that
bougie
eventually.
trailer trash.
They'll learn that whole demographic later along.
As long as you're moving, it's all good.
So daily life and routine, I mean, it's changed obviously a lot for you guys after 4 years ago selling everything, hitting the road. What's your daily life look like now? I mean, I've watched a lot of it recently.
Yeah.
The one place you stopped at down in Texas on the beach was super cool, and you kind of cornered off a box of and all that for all three campers and RVs. But like, what's your daily life routine? Like walk us through some of that.
Yeah.
You're starting.
I feel like every day is different.
Well, so every day seems to be different for me, at least, because I obviously do all the repairs on the RV. But lately, what it's been is like we had a tire go flat. Or actually a blowout, so I had to change the tire. I had to take it to a tire shop, get the tires mounted, put the tires back on. And it's just been a lot of repairs lately. The RV is 3 years old, and so I think that's probably when it starts falling apart.
Yeah.
It seems like.
Well, you're taking a home down the road. It's going to happen eventually.
I also do the homeschooling for the girls.
Oh, very nice.
So yeah, I help them with grammar because I'm very big into like grammar and language arts and things like that, because I believe if you can read and write, you can learn anything and do anything, right? And so they do math as well, and we have them write in their little books the little prompts of like, I think, what was the last one? What was your favorite vacation spot? And so they had to write a paragraph about that, and then I look over that and I have a red pen.
Oh, you got that blooded red pen.
He's the principal.
It's a dreaded red pen.
Yeah, I have a red pen.
My papers were usually pretty red.
They hate the red pen. When the red pen comes, they're like, seriously, Dad? I'm like, yeah.
Click, click.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Oh, no. The worst part.
Yeah. So we also have a digital marketing business, and so I kind of work behind the scenes, kind of the nerdy side, like listings management and things for our companies that we help. Building websites and things like that. So, and she is more of like the in your face kind of person. I like to be behind the scenes. Like that's more my style.
Sales, SEO building, citations, backlinks.
Yeah, nerdy stuff.
It's all right.
Yeah.
We're in marketing. We kind of understand.
That's cool.
What do I do? Let's see. Well, first, coffee, then slay, right? So coffee always.
It's a good motto.
Yeah.
Coffee and slay. Beyond
that, it just like depends on the day. So I like to batch work. So they're like for Mondays, I have lots of meetings. I am building my doTERRA business. Recently left my other company of 10 years at the top of the career plan. But that's been a journey. So leading up to that point, it's been a pivot of life, being on the road, of pivoting our income. And that has been probably my hands down the hardest thing. So building Peeples and Places and the brand has been my focus for the last 2 years so that I could pivot, because it was literally throwing away thousands of dollars in residual income that we lived off of. So I do all of the posting and all of the creating of content for Peeples and Places. And then I run 2 other companies' social media as well.
Yeah, that's
so it's a lot.
It's a bear. I run one. It's a bear.
Yeah, but it's so good. And then, those are my 3 main focuses. But it's a lot.
Yeah, I forgot. I also cook.
Yeah.
I clean.
Rob's a rock star.
And I do the laundry. So those are the other things.
Basically, I would starve and I would have dirty underwear if I didn't have my husband.
Yeah.
Okay. Powerhouse couple. I like it.
Listen, I would not be able to juggle all of the plates that I do business-wise if it weren't for him. And I recognize that. And I also am a passenger princess. So I help him with none of the directing of places to go because I would get us lost.
Yeah.
But I do work.
She films when I change the blowout tire.
Oh, yes, you can count on me.
Restart.
Yeah.
Can you
do that again? Can you? What? No, I'm not taking the tire off.
Let's talk about that. Let's unpack that, Rob. Rob gets really mad at me in those moments where it is high stress, but it's such good content, you know?
Mm-hmm. This could go viral.
Yeah. So
good.
I recently filmed something and I don't know if I'll ever share it. Remember the whole slipping of the rocks with the yellow blocks that you put under it? We almost literally dropped the whole RV. That's a whole other story.
Wait. Do we want to talk about that or do we not want to talk about that?
Oh,
you said you maybe want to share it.
I filmed some of it, you guys, but it was not appropriate.
Words, bleep, 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 bleep.
Yeah. I mean, I got a little upset. Obviously, being on the road full time and living in an RV, it has its ups and downs. And there are things that happen to the RV, and there are things that are out of your control. And then there are some things that you do that you're like, why the heck did I do that? I don't know why I put the snap pad or the yellow blocks underneath the front jacks because we were on rocks. I don't know why, but basically the RV started slipping off. And I was literally holding the RV up.
20,000 pounds.
Yeah. Strong man.
Yeah,
He's got the whole Atlas on.
In the front. And she's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm holding the RV. And
What do I do?
I'm sure I said a bunch of things. And in those moments, you're like, man,
Restart. Can you start
If it's going to drop, baby, I'm going to get it on camera. You can count on that.
In those moments, you're like, man, I was kind of a jerk. And I did apologize for that. So,
he did.
You know.
He's great at that.
Yeah. It just happens. Stuff happens.
RV made it through.
It did
because he is Superman and he held it up.
Apparently,
that's right.
Rob Strongman.
Flex on him, Rob. Let's go.
Rob Strongman. Peoples.
It will have been the first fifth wheel that you the nose went down. No, it would have been backwards. The nose up in the air.
Oh, it was going to go this way. Whoop.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It was
Sheesh.
So if you care to see the footage.
Wow.
So she has footage, but
I'm glad you made it.
Yeah, we made it.
So maybe we'll see that footage at some point. Maybe that'll come out eventually, like the behind the scenes stuff.
What not to do with snap pads.
Oh, but people would judge me for the things I said. Oh,
well, you just put it. The beautiful thing is you can edit things, right? We can edit content.
Put a different song behind it or something like that.
That's engagement, actually.
Yeah, listen, I'm not a swearer, but that day.
We'll put music over that one.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Use the SpongeBob scene when he's doing all the dolphin noises and stuff.
Now, when you guys were talking about the home, there's a couple things that came to my mind. Homeschool and then work at the same time. So first with homeschool, It's interesting. I have friends of mine who actually went full-time boating they went out of Florida. They bought a sailboat and then they sailed for a full year. And
look what you did.
I followed their whole journey from the very beginning because they're actually from the Boise area. I know them very well, and then they moved out there, did the whole thing, and it was the coolest thing. But they had kids, and one of their daughters was in high school, and she was a senior, so she had the biggest, the toughest time at first. And it's just kind of interesting to watch their journey as how she fell in love with the whole thing. But they were homeschooling, and that always has been something that's interesting to me on the road. How you homeschool, how you keep them focused, but also just internet connection. That's I know this is going to sound crazy because there's certain things that require technology and there's certain things that you might need to use for that. And then work, you're doing social media for people, you're running your own platforms. And when you're out in the road, like maybe you're where there's not a lot of service, what are you guys using for your internet? And have you had issues where you simply just couldn't get stuff done that you needed to get done, whether it be homework, school work, whatever?
This summer has been a lot more difficult with like connectivity than we've ever experienced. We were in the Pacific Northwest. For some reason, they just don't have a whole lot of connectivity.
Really?
But we're also dealing with like trees and different things up there. So I would say if you're going to go full-time RVing, you need to have
Starlink.
You need to have multiple sources for your internet. We have Starlink, but we also have OTR. And so OTR is our main one, and then Starlink is our backup.
Oh,
typically.
okay.
Yeah.
We just switched over that because T-Mobile we had for the longest time. But then we started hearing rumors that
They're locking it down.
They're locking it down, but it was not very reliable.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. It was not very reliable, and we were noticing like it just depended on the area if like AT&T or Verizon or, you know. So we got to the point where we're like, all right, well, let's try this because it bounces off all of the things. So
yeah, so we have like 2 devices from OTR. One is like a Verizon device, and that thing, if Verizon is good, man, it's rocking and rolling. It's fast, and it does everything we need it to do. And then there's a smaller like portable device called the Titan, and it goes off of AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon, so all 3 of them.
Okay.
And then Starlink is our backup. It's if we're in a really rural area and I have, view of the sky, then we'll put Starlink up. Thanks, Elon.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. Cool, but it is an investment though. Like I think it's just something to note. I think most people understand it, but you probably do need to invest. It's going to cost you a little bit to invest, but it's worth it if you really, if your income, if you're working, if you're homeschooling, you got to have a way to like make that work. So that just keep that in mind, I guess, is one of the things that I was like, oh yeah, I didn't really think about that. It could be a couple $100 a month sometimes, depends on what you're getting. Right. So it's just something to keep in mind and note. So that's cool. So have you guys, for the work purposes, what happens when it goes down? Do you ever get frustrated? Do you guys find connectivity, or you just say, hey, we're just going to go do our thing until we get to the next day?
That first podcast that we tried doing, remember I was at Starbucks.
Sure.
So I will drive into town, but even Starbucks, I guess, failed that day. It doesn't happen too frequently, but sometimes like there'll be a cabin at the campground, and sometimes they'll have Wi-Fi. So I've gone to the cabin before.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, I mean, we could get creative. I could take the truck. I could plug it into the truck and do Starlink. That would be a pain in the butt. But where there's a will, there's a way, right? You can always think outside the box. I feel like you just need clear line of sight, no trees.
Yeah, I would say like in the times that we've had connectivity versus no connectivity, we've had more.
Like Crater Lake was probably the worst we've ever had. There is no cell coverage. So if you're planning on going to Crater Lake, you need Starlink if you want to be connected. There's no other option. Period.
Yep.
Good to know.
So,
good to know. Yeah. Okay, thank you. What do you got, JB?
Let me check my paper. Well, we kind of talked about a lot of this. So financial aspects, I mean, to plan. You kind of sold everything, literally. You probably kept the keepsakes, which is great. It sounds like you're digital marketing as well. So we kind of covered a lot of that. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about actually like these expenditures to do this, right? Mm-hmm. You have the RV, you have the truck, you have Verizon, OTR, Starlink. You also have planning trips and staying at places, right? Obviously, you can sounds like you do the 1,000 Trails.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one way of doing it. Do you do other camping as well? Like, how does you sustain all that and then plan on that on top of that?
Yeah. It's a loaded question there. Okay, so I'll break it down.
Okay.
Financial aspects of it. Here's what we didn't know is that the truck, when we first bought that truck would be a much larger payment than even our toy hauler. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't realize that. So I would say anybody that's starting off thinking about RV life to consider how much that cost. We took a lot of the profits from our house and we paid off our truck, which is one of the best things I think I could have done. What else did you ask me? I can't remember.
Planning trips.
Planning trips.
Yeah, like expenditures along those trips.
Okay, so as far as campgrounds go,
correct.
We had never been to 1,000 Trails before, and I was like, wait a second, like let's break this down. When we went on our 2-month trip, it cost an average of about $2,000 per month to go camping. Like, you're thinking when you're weekend warriors, you're thinking of KOAs, right? You're thinking of these true campgrounds, resorts, and that kind of thing. And I was like, if I multiply that by, 12, then I'm going to get, that's a lot of freaking money.
Yeah.
24 grand. Like, what? So when I learned about Thousand Trails and like their top membership at the time, I don't know what it is now. It was $15,000 a month. I was like, I'm sorry, $15,000 total. I'm sorry.
Thousand Trails.
JV's
you can
like,
edit this out.
You did what?
Thousand Trails was $15,000 top tier for the membership.
For a year?
No.
For a lifetime?
Total.
So you just pay it once, you're in forever.
Yes, you have dues, so it's like approximately $600.
So it is like it's kind of like a timeshare type.
Kind of like
very
a
similar
timeshare.
to a timeshare. Yeah,
I've heard this before.
Yes. So it just made sense. Like if I'm going to be on the road for a year or two, it just makes sense.
So you pulled the trigger.
So I pulled the trigger. It just made strategically. It just made sense.
Okay.
Like this is the most affordable, whether or not it's amazing or it's crappy.
Yeah. I hope you're
it
ready
just
for
makes
full
sense.
time because we're doing it for a while.
Well, and it's the funny thing. You want to speak to that because he didn't know what he was getting into, and nor did I. But I painted the vision with that dangling carrot at beautiful, amazing bougie RV resorts. And then when we got on the road, he was like, what the junk? Some of the Thousand Trails, like you just have to set your expectations, a little lower. And some of them, some of them are amazing.
Yeah.
I won't lie to you. But it's really, you're not there for like the campground. You're there because
the location
and
people.
The people, I think, is the biggest. Yeah.
Boom, boom.
I know, right?
Roll it on
you get our brand now.
I also think like your experience with Thousand Trails also depends on how like attentive your rep is to you.
Absolutely.
And we have a very good rep who still talks to us and still helps us out this day.
Which I have a link in my bio if you want to like be contacted. There's a Google form. You just fill it out and then they'll contact you. But they are amazing. I bought mine through somebody totally different. They were not helpful. I didn't know what I didn't know. And I think that is a key piece. If you're thinking about purchasing the membership, I think it would be most of all, it's because of cost savings. A family trying to sustain $2,000 a month if they're trying to go and explore and do fun things and move fast, obviously, diesel, gas, that is going to be a factor.
It all adds up quick.
Repairs.
Very fast.
And Thousand Trails, it makes it actually affordable to move from campground to campground to campground. Like our membership, we get to stay in there for 21 days. And it depends on like if it's high season or whatever, then maybe it's like 2 weeks. But still, like you get to park your home there for 14 to 21 days, and you don't have to worry about not having a place to stay.
Yeah.
And we have a long booking window, and
It's flexible.
It's very flexible, right? Sometimes we'll book a campground, and then we end up getting there, and we decide that we're going to leave early, and we have that ability to do that as well, which is really cool. Yeah. So it's flexible because the full-time RV lifestyle, you have to be flexible.
Yes. Heck, we've changed it up like on the way there. And we're not going to stay here. We're going to stay there. And I love that.
Yeah.
Maybe other people don't love the flexibility as much. They need like a plan. But I think that the longer you're on the road, the more flexible you become.
Yeah, well, you can't get used to it, right? But like being able to stay somewhere for like a longer period of time. I was talking to Kaylee and Steve with Exploring Outside of 303.
Friend.
You know Kaylee and Steve?
Those are our good friends.
They're good people. Yeah. Great people.
Yeah.
I didn't get to meet Steve, but I heard he's the camp whore. That's what she says.
Yes, he is. That's accurate.
How cool.
He's rubbing off on Rob too.
Yeah.
They go and talk and talk and talk.
Oh, Steve.
Yeah, we'll have him back around for sure. But they were saying that like when they first started, they were doing 2 days. 2 days, 2 days, 2 days, 2 days. Yeah, I'm like, could you imagine packing up your home every other day?
No.
Like, oh my goodness. So like the Thousand Trails, I want to get them on here, so I'm going to get that guy's number or whoever
I have
your
their
rep is.
number.
Sweet. Well, I want to talk to them. So I'd love to have them on here, kind of really talk about that because I don't know. I don't understand.
We're going to be at
thing.
the Balloon Fiesta together.
Okay.
Side by side.
Perfect. Well, put in a plug for me.
There you go.
Appreciate that. But anyway.
But she's talking about with Steve and Kaylee. We're going to be with Steve and Kaylee.
Oh, sorry. Who are we
He's
talking
talking about? Like Sharon and Warren.
Yeah, travel the Thousand Trails. Yeah, I'd love to have them on here so we can understand that, so everyone can understand it. Because I'm sure someone gets on there like $15,000.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
But you can break it down into monthly payments, and it's
correct.
way more affordable. When you do it that way, you're like, oh, it's $2,000, or how much was it? Like $300?
I think it's like 600 at the bottom. But
what?
Here's the key. If you want the first pick of campgrounds, you're going to want to have like the top membership.
Absolutely.
Right? So I didn't want to sit on a chat or phone call in all the time. That's annoying, and my time is valuable.
Yeah.
And so if I can get the top tier and it makes sense, I'll do it.
Makes sense to me.
I don't regret it.
Yeah.
Totally.
I mean, you get campgrounds in like the Florida Keys, and you get them like in really nice spots.
Yeah. The last 3 winters we've been at the Keys.
Yeah.
And it's been wonderful.
Oh,
$20 a night. Can you beat that?
$20 a night in the Keys?
$20 a night.
I'd spend more than that in the sitting.
Yeah.
In the Keys.
Yeah.
Wouldn't take me long to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're nice campgrounds.
Yeah.
They really are.
Very awesome.
I want to touch base on the community aspect of this. It's kind of cool. So JB just mentions a name. You guys know who they are. Okay, cool.
Not only do they know him, they hang out with him.
They hang out with them. That's so cool. The community factor, I think that's such a huge piece to this, just from the outside looking in. Like, not just for yourselves, but for the kids too. Yep. That's one thing I've noticed is like just the RVing community. It's like-minded individuals who are going out, and they're all risking something too. They're getting outside their comfort zone. Many of them. What would you say your overall experience has been with the community? Have you meshed well with most people? And then you also have your online community that you've built with Peoples and Places, which is massive. So like you have real life, and then and the others, and they could probably intertwine a little bit, I'm sure. But like, what do you feel about the community? Do you feel it's pretty positive? Do you think it's a positive impact? Has it been good for the girls as well? Like, what are your overall thoughts?
Yeah, I would say so. I always say that our girls are growing up in like a 90s lifestyle. They're outside more than they're inside, which is great. But the RV community in general is always like helpful, kind. Whenever you go next to someone you don't know them, typically they come over and they introduce themselves, or vice versa, or our kids start playing and then we introduce ourselves to the parents or whatever, because you want to know like who your kids are hanging out with, right?
Sure.
So I would say like the overall like RV community is I think
it's tight knit.
It's very tight knit, right?
It feels like living in a small neighborhood, right? But you're spread out everywhere, and you go and explore in the summer, and you come back in the winter. Am I not talking? Sorry. You come back to Florida in the winter, or Southern California, where a lot of RVers go, and it's like a homecoming.
Yeah,
it's hard to describe if you're not on the road, but you're one person away from knowing like everybody in the RV community. It is actually pretty small. And when you're on the road for as long as we've been on the road for, and there's been plenty of RVers that have been on the road longer than we have. Like we were just hanging out with Nathan and Marissa from Less Junk, More Journey. They have an amazing community, on YouTube, and we watched them before we got on the road, right? But like we met them on our very first full-time family rally. And that was incredible to us. And so we're friends to this day. We got to go to Hawaii with them, and it was a lot of fun. We've learned so much from other RVers. But as far as the community aspect, we'll sit around the campfires, and our kids know each other's kids. And I don't know, it's amazing. It feels like a tribe.
Yeah, for sure.
I think one of the best things that we did when we got on the road is we actually joined Full-Time Families, which is an organization of full-time families, and we went to a rally. We went to it's called the Reunion. It was in Madison, Florida, and we actually met pretty much all of our friends that we have to this day at that location.
Super cool.
So we still talk to all those people today. We're still friends with all those people. Some have gotten off the road since that, but if we didn't do that, I feel like it would have been a little harder for us to like get in with people, to be honest. But that's just because I sometimes can be shy.
Yeah.
And a hermit.
Not anymore.
Yeah, look at that though. I think it's so cool though. These things, just this conversation has taught me a ton about this. There's little intricacies of this whole entire experience. I would have had no idea that. I didn't even know there's a rally. That's the first time I've ever heard of that. Yeah. But it's cool because people like, I'm sure there's tons of people like yourself, maybe a little more introverted, more comfortable, kind of staying behind the scenes, like you said. this gave you an opportunity to make some friends that are lifelong friends. I think that's rad. Yeah. How's my grammar on that? Rad, is that okay? Rad. Dope, rad. Living in the 90s, you said, right? So awesome.
Frogs are boiling in the RV voice.
The economy. I'm just kidding. Okay, go ahead.
I'm not 100% sure where we left off. Community connection. We were kind of
we talked about her Instagram. Mm-hmm. Their Instagram focus on that, and some of her best tips and tricks on that. Finding being genuine is what Rob was saying. Just being genuine and authentic. The only thing I'd add on to that from what we were just saying is I noticed that at the time of this recording yesterday, you guys created content. I didn't know anything that was going to be going on. Just as an FYI, I'm in a meeting with Todd yesterday. We were talking about social media, and I had no idea what you guys were going through. I wasn't even checking our social media feed. And I tell Todd straight up, I say, you know what would be cool is if these influencers that we get in contact with, if they have an experience where they could utilize BishFix or anything else, if they're able to record themselves using BishFix. I was they'd have to have a separate camera and stuff. And then we just continued on about our day. Then it was a couple hours later, I'm on our social media feed, and you guys are doing that. I didn't know there was any conversations that had been had. It was literally I was oh my gosh. But what was cool about it is that you guys were going through the day-to-day. Now, I'm sure you weren't probably happy with, she's recording, the whole thing we discussed earlier, she's recording in the moment of having to do all that. But it was really cool. You guys are genuine, you're authentic, and I think that's what people want to see. People want to see, I wanted to see that. I was holy cow. Yeah. One of the coolest things. So anyway, I think that speaks volume. So just to recap that, if you're an aspiring full-time RVer who wants to create content around it, you mentioned the course that you took, but you also just find your audience and be genuine and authentic. And I think if you take those things away, you can have a good recipe for success.
And also, if you are an RV influencer, give us a call. Or reach out to me DMs, Bish's RV or RV Voice, because we have an offer for you.
Got it.
And if you haven't seen BishFix, check out BishFix.com. There's another plug. There's two of them. And Peeples, with what was your gal's name?
Peoples and Places.
No, the marketing gal.
Oh, Max Explorer.
Max, yeah, that's that might have not got recorded, so I wanted to make sure you got that. So, and then the tell her Peeples, Peeples.
Yes, I think if you put my last name in, or you message her, it'll give me a referral. I'm not too concerned about it, but she's a good person.
Cool. Yeah. Cool. You said you had 4 other questions.
Four other questions. The next one was, so you guys have been doing this for 4 years now. And you've had some experiences along the way. Good, bad, ugly, all of it, I'm sure. What are your favorite ones, though? Because I saw one, the one that we were Jordan and I were going through your feed the other day, and we found the one that you guys were on the beach, and it went 3 million views or something like that, just popped off, right? And it was a wonderful spot. It looked awesome. So what are some of your favorite experiences along the way, whether it's places, Peoples, or just anything events-wise that you did?
Well, if you ask our girls would all say, in unison, they would say when we camped inside Glacier National Park in Apgar.
I'm jealous already.
Yeah, we were a walking distance away from Lake McDonald where we could swim and paddleboard and things like that.
That's the colorful rocks, right?
Yeah. So that was a really, really cool experience, and I think they remember that one the most, the one you're talking about, the beach one. That was very relaxing for her. It's a lot of work, but the last time we went, we were thinking, we're going to have beautiful weather because I checked the weather and it was supposed to be 70. Well, a heat wave came through and we got into the upper 90s with almost 100% humidity.
Yes, not when you want a boondock.
It's not when you want a boondock, right? But
we were on the water.
Yeah. And
that was your dream?
Amazing.
A massive storm came through, and we had our clam tent up. And she wakes me up in the middle of the night because our RV is going like this from the wind.
I had this gut
feeling.
That's
how hard it is. And she had this gut feeling. She's like, I think our clam is gone. Or it's going to go soon. And I was like, come on, really? Now? And then, so she goes out there, she looks. Our clam is hanging on by one little, rope. And it's kind of flapping in the wind as it's as it's about to go either into the ocean or into our neighbor's RV or just into the road somewhere.
It was like 60 mile an hour per wind, and Rob is in his boxers. And I save my clam!
Yeah. So I'm I'm going outside, I'm in my, what do you call them, skivvies or whatever, and the wind is just whipping. It's hitting my face, and it's raining, and I'm just getting wet, and salt spray, and all this stuff from the ocean. So yes, it looked beautiful.
He's my hero, and he saved my clam.
And it made for good content.
No, I didn't even know.
No!
It was 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, in all reality, we've had really beautiful places that we've been. Our kids would say probably Glacier, but I'll let Ashley speak to what's her favorite place.
Well, recently Coeur d'Alene, Idaho stole our hearts, but the thing that came to mind, honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, when I was growing up, history was kind of boring to me. Mm-hmm. I learned it in textbooks, and I never really pictured history in a timeline. I learned about all of the wars, but it was kind of a blur, right? So last summer we took our girls all the way up the East Coast, where we did Colonial Williamsburg. We did Boston for the 4th of July. We took them, where else did we take them, Rob? Oh, Washington, D.C. They got to actually learn history from a really cool, tangible way. Yeah, and I think visiting the national parks and all that stuff, I think that's the best thing that we have done for our girls is, visiting those historical places.
Yeah, history was not good for me either. Same thing, it's in the past, it doesn't matter, but it does. And I get that. But the most history in the U.S. is the East Coast. So you guys really dove into it full time. I mean, that's a totally different animal. I would have appreciated it a lot more if I was actually there. I was sitting downstairs in my high school, no windows, turn on a film, fall asleep. 100%. Phone might go off. You never know.
I legitimately, though, I think there's something to that. And I think I wish, that's why I like to ask these questions, because I have 3 children myself. And I often think about what would it be like to bring them there to show them that stuff, because I'm the same way. I wish I would have had that, because anytime I've ever gone on vacation and I see a historical place, I'm like, dude, I wouldn't have cared about this 15 years ago. Yeah. Right now, unbelievable. Cause I feel it. It's tangible. Like you said, that those words you use, I'm like, yeah, it's something that you learn better that way. Yeah. And I think that's pretty cool. I don't know. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, our kids were learning about the Boston Tea Party and things with the American Revolution, and we went to Boston and walked the Freedom Trail and got to see Boston Harbor.
On the 4th of July.
On the 4th of July.
Really? Yeah. That's so cool.
It's one of the best places for the 4th.
Right? So it's
they went on the Mayflower.
How
Jordan's done that. I've done that. It's been there for the 4th, yeah.
Same thing. Yeah, I mean, how much more American can you be than to be in the place where the revolution started
with other
on
families.
the 4th of July with other families and experiencing all that stuff. So I think it really brings it to life for them, because they're able to see with their own eyes the places that we went and where these people were and the events that happened in those places. I think that really, really helps them remember.
Mm-hmm. It clicked at Lewis and Clark. We just went in Oregon. Oopsie. And what's that?
No, I felt it like.
Oh. I think it all clicked for them when we went to the Lewis and Clark.
At Cape Disappointment, yeah.
Cape Disappointment, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, I still learn things, because I was wait a second, Lewis and Clark, I didn't know that they went on a river. I thought they were just on a wagon the whole time, mm-hmm. But no, they were mostly on a river, and then they, whatever. But so even as adults, we either forget things or maybe we didn't learn something, and so it's oh my gosh, I had no idea.
Yes, the girls collect their little national park badges.
Oh, yeah.
They're very decorated, and they have vests. It's been fun.
I love the next one.
That's their Letterman's jacket.
They sold it out so much.
I've done this before.
Love it.
Yeah.
Super cool.
So was the Cape Disappointment?
No, it was amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. That was probably, I would think now we would agree, that's our favorite spot. For some reason, we went on to Wandering Labs, and I got a last minute, it's how you get state
tell our secrets.
Oh, sorry. Never mind. Wandering Labs doesn't exist.
I'm not cutting it out.
So I went on and I got a last minute spot. I had no idea what to expect. When I hear Cape Disappointment, I'm oh, actually, I have no idea what, we could just be in the woods. It could just, because we're talking about the Washington coast near Oregon, right? So it could be very woodsy and nothing. We drive in, and our spot is literally
backed up to the Pacific Ocean. And right to our right, we can see the Cape Disappointment Lighthouse up on the cliff.
From our deck.
It was
there's your vision again. Backed up to the water.
Yeah. I mean, that part has
come true. That's why you have a toy hauler.
Yeah, that's why you get a toy hauler.
Yeah. But we only stayed there for 2 nights, and I could have stayed there way, way, way longer.
Yeah. Was it Cape Disappointment?
Cape Disappointment State Park.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Spot 107.
I feel like I just saw that on like. What?
He's giving it. She's gonna. Yeah, never mind. We good.
That out.
I think I just saw that. I don't know if I saw that you guys were there or something. You did a plug or something. I looked it up, but for some reason it just like popped up on one of my searches. I don't know. I was like, Cape Disappointment. That sounds awful.
It does sound awful. What's funny is like I have not given her the drone footage yet.
You haven't.
I totally keep forgetting to.
So I'm a little behind when it comes to content. So one of the challenges as a full-time RVer is when you have 3 little girls, you're thinking of safety. So posting in real time, oftentimes I won't do.
Yeah.
I usually will wait. And that is challenging because it's a lot more work. Because you're trying to stay in the same, order in which you did things.
Yeah.
And so then you find yourself posting less often. But I would say that would be one part of a challenge.
Yeah, that totally makes sense, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing that. That's a good point that nobody really talks about. Safety reasons, gotta kind of space it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, then once you get like a following, 2 people want to just meet up with you. Like we had the rook hauler yesterday. He's like, I've had people like come find me. It's like, I gotta be careful about going live because I've been found before. He's like, it's not cool. It's not awesome. Like, sometimes he's like, it's kind of weird. Because people are like, oh, I want to buy you a drink or something like that. He's like, oh man, like, you're cool. Thanks for being my follower.
I mean, our family knows where we are. Our friends that we talk to, they pretty much know where we are. But like, we try to post like well after we're gone.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Just for safety reasons.
Yeah,
totally.
So that's some good advice. But what about advice for beginners that want to get into this? So you guys kind of had a whole 4-year slew of all these different things that happened, and then you've been all these places, met all these people, and what's like here's 3 to 5 things. Advice that you need to know for sure before you pull this trigger to go full time.
That's good. Know how to pivot income, because if you're getting on the road with 1 or 2 streams of income in this economy, and you don't know how to pivot, you find yourself into financial ruin. Number 2, I would say, is have a decent sized emergency budget. Things go wrong all of the time, and so we've seen friends get into a lot of debt and have to sit for long periods of time stationary, and that stinks. Or go back to work, a full-time job, and then still live in their RV. So those would be my top 2, Rob.
You definitely have to have resilience, and it's in all aspects of the RV life. Like she said, the income, with pivoting and different jobs or careers or whatever, but also like resilience in the fact that like it is not if your RV breaks, it is when.
Oh yeah, it will.
It is when. Because we call them weekend warriors. They're not taking their RV thousands of miles,
down by a river.
They're not taking it into like dirt paths that are like this.
That's my dream.
That's not what weekend warriors are doing. And so, as a full-time RVer, your RV is going to break. And so you just definitely have to have resilience and understand like this is going to happen. And when it happens, you just have to be as prepared as you possibly can be.
And communication is key.
Yeah.
I think.
I think honestly, like with the communication, I think our marriage has actually strengthened in that sense of like we actually have to communicate. We have to talk to each other because there are instances where like I would rather just go like run and hide and just sulk or whatever because like all these things are going wrong all at one time. Like leave me alone. Like let me play my Xbox or whatever.
Yeah, get away from me.
College football, right?
Yeah.
I do have to
let me just do that. But honestly, like because we live in 430 square feet, it has caused us to have to like talk things through and communicate. And I really do believe that it has strengthened our marriage in that sense.
Well, your family in general. I mean, the kids probably don't see that because they don't know any different, right?
Right.
But they're going to look back at this and be like,
holy cow, those are some of the best memories. Like now they live in an apartment wherever they may be. Yeah. But they're going to look back at that like, wow, that was cool.
I think our kids are also going to have the itch to travel as well. I don't know how well they're going to do. We call it sticks and bricks. What you live in is sticks and bricks a house.
Am I being insulted?
No. But like we just call it sticks and bricks, like where you live in a house. And, I don't know how well they're going to do with being like.
If you follow the Enneagram, I feel like I've made my children all a 7, and that's what he is.
Okay.
I am a 3, so I feel like I'm trying to achieve his forever like
craziness.
Yeah, he likes change. Like a 7 on the Enneagram loves change. I feel like we have definitely developed little kids that love to go and do and explore and a sense of adventure.
So as a 7, you get this itch that you have to change something. Like something in your life has to change or it's going to become like mundane. And so I've been itching to get into a different RV, so
you just
don't look at me.
Yeah.
It's really fed into like my desire for change, and you get to change your neighbors, your backyard, your scenery, your state, your whatever. And it's been really
Before
good.
It was like new baby, new house, new car, new job, new baby, new house, new car, new job. And then when we ran out of those things,
rinse, repeat.
I was like, well, crap, how do I keep them happy? You know?
Yeah.
So we just move our backyard, you know?
Yeah.
Sure.
It just seems natural.
No,
But we have been in the same RV we've been in an RV accident as well, so we can go over that too.
Yeah, let's actually talk about that. The RV accident. JB, they were talking about this earlier today when we were over at the dealership. I want to hear more about that if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah. Do you want to?
You go with it.
So, actually it was September of 2022. We were driving through DC on the outskirts and somebody cut Rob off and then immediately got into the other lane, thank God. But the person behind us following us was following way too closely in a van and slammed into the back of us. I immediately, like, my laptop went like flying. I like seriously thought he is in my garage. Like that's how hard it was. It was like 55 miles per hour. So it wasn't like a little accident. Mm-hmm. We were terrified. Like, you know, you're full time. You have no backup. You don't know where to go. So there's all these emotions of like, well, what's next? And, we were technically on our way to go to a nice resort in South Carolina to sit for a month. I think I booked it for a month. Mm-hmm. It was a splurge. We had never sat still longer than 3 weeks in the almost 2 years that we were RVing. So it was definitely God's provision over us at the time. We gimped the RV to this amazing resort, and working with the insurance company, I will say I wish it upon no one.
Yeah.
We learned a lot.
Well, she says we gimped the RV, but that's also because on our way down to South Carolina, I noticed one of our 3 tires on the left, on the driver's side, one was like wobbling like this. And I was like, that's not supposed to be like that. So when she says gimping, we were definitely gimping.
Changed the tire twice, I think.
Yeah, we changed the tire twice because we thought, oh, I don't know what's going on. But
anyway, we just wanted to get somewhere to sit and deal with all of the insurance company. The silver lining to this was that the person that hit us was in a corporate vehicle and we had a witness stop. Had we not had the witness stop, I don't know what life would have looked like to this day. Yeah. But we decided to go with the guy at fault's insurance company. Had we not,
I have no idea what we'd be doing.
Yeah, we would have essentially been out of the house. We would have been displaced for a year because that's how long it took our RV to get fixed. So in the meantime, we had to buy another RV. So we bought a 2023 Keystone Avalanche. Mm-hmm. I can't remember. 378BH.
378BH, yeah.
And it was great. And we got to test out a fifth wheel, which we were always kind of curious, like, will we like a fifth wheel? Because we just jumped right into a toy hauler from a Class A. So we got to try that out for a year, and it was awesome. But we did learn a lot of things along the way. Like, if we want to go out west in Boondock, those tanks, they're not as big. We can go maybe 3 days. And that's something that, like, we didn't realize. Thankfully, we were on the East Coast, not doing a whole lot of boondocking that year, but we learned that.
Yeah, we discovered some of the things that we liked about the Avalanche versus the Fusion, and so we really, once we got back into the Fusion after it was fixed and everything, we're like, what can we do to the Fusion to kind of like make our lives easier? And so the first thing we did was actually we replaced
residential fridge.
We took out the propane electric fridge and put in a huge 20 cubic foot residential fridge, which was a game changer.
It's another note. Note that down if you guys are listening to this. That's crazy.
Because you can actually go to Costco, you guys.
Oh.
I know.
Costco and get it in?
Yeah.
As an
No. She's like talking about how much food we can.
You can actually go to Costco.
The
fridge isn't from Costco.
You can make trips to Costco and stock up on food.
Here you go.
That's another one of those secrets.
Oh goodness. So that was a pretty bad accident. We were quoted like $15,000, ended up being $58,000 in damage.
Wow.
They
quoted you $15,000.
Yes.
When it was actually $58,000. So that's what the insurance company quoted you, or is this with the service?
So our insurance company sent someone out there, and
Progressive.
What?
It was Progressive.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm being honest. Well, I thought that they were like the best.
Yeah.
And what I found was if we didn't have that other guy that was corporate insurance, Progressive definitely would not have covered what we needed. And it was very poor the way that they treated us, unfortunately. And we've never really gone into full detail about all of the things. Mm-hmm. It's kind of almost a blur and painful to even like rehearse in our minds what we went through.
Yeah.
But we've had a few friends reach out and have accidents, and they've reached out and we've been able to walk them through. But I will say, even the friend that just went through an accident, it took her 6 months and she was homeless. Her and her family had to go stay with family. Mm-hmm. And that's where we would have been had I not negotiated a deal with the insurance company.
Yeah. So our insurance company quoted about $15,000 in damage. I looked at it and, I know RVs pretty well. And I was like, there's no way that this is only $15,000. Because I know how much that door that was damaged alone costs. Because it was replaced 3 times, by the way. So
as a full-time RVer, what they won't tell you is maximum displacement is 7,500 total. That's it. That's all she wrote. Can you imagine? Like that's an Airbnb for what? Maybe a month and a half.
Maybe.
Right. Yeah. After that, you're up a creek without a paddle.
Yeah.
So because somebody else hit us, I went to that insurance company and I basically gave them an ultimatum. And I negotiated with my negotiating skills from content creation. And I said...
From Max Create?
Huh?
From Max Explorer?
Max Explorer.
Yeah, basically. I said, I'm going to come after you for loss of income. And that was truly... it was such a blessing to be a content creator at the time, to have that power to say, I have to be able to be on the move because I'm under contract with these companies. Mm-hmm. And I can't make money unless you put me back into an RV. So they said, fine, quote us. They fought me on this, but they said, quote us. How much would it be to put you into an RV per month? So I did the quote, same RV-ish, as best I could. It was $8,000 a month. And then you have to turn around in 30 days and give it back to the person that you're renting it from. So they said, well, we will agree to cover it, but here's the caveat. You have to go and find out how long it's going to take to get that repair done. Go to the Audi body shop, and they said maximum it's probably going to take 3 months. And I was like, 3 months? It's like, that's really fast in the RV industry, sure, because I'm thinking more like 6 months to a year based off of this extensive damage. So at the end of the day, I said, you know what, forget it. I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to give you 2 options and you have 24 hours to decide. Either one, go ahead, rent me for every month, $8,000 RV and we'll stay within the area and kind of bounce around. Or I'll take $24,000, $8,000 times 3, and you give that to me and I'll walk away with the displacement. You still have to fix my RV, but the displacement's taken care of. And they came back right there and they're like, we'll take it.
So in long story short, we saved them money by doing that.
We did.
Because it ended up being closer to a year that we wouldn't get back into that RV.
I was thinking at the time, we would have probably like come out even buying another RV,
right?
Being that we had that $24,000 down. His parents actually wound up buying
right as we were ready to sell the Avalanche, that's when the used market kind of went.
Yeah. We would have lost our shirts, actually.
Again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always losing my shirt.
Yeah.
So potentially you could have had, like, based on what they were saying, like, it saved them almost like, what, $72,000 if you're looking at an additional 9 months.
Yeah, but it saved me the headache. I got to go travel the whole summer.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So there's that. The
moving out every 30 days.
And it scratched that itch of like trying out a different type of RV.
Sure.
Right. We were in the toy hauler, and then we've already had a Class A, and then we got into like a regular fifth wheel bunkhouse. We thought we were going to stay in it because it was beautiful. We loved it. It had tons of upgrades. Yeah. And we just decided eventually, I think we all just were like, we kind of missed the fusion. We missed like...
I want to go out west.
Yeah.
And when we boondocked, it was up in the White Mountains. Mm-hmm. We did our first boondocking trip in it, and it was like having a newborn baby, an external generator. We were not used to. We had an onboard generator with our toy hauler. We didn't know any different. Well, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. It ran out of gas.
Yeah, I only had 2 lithium batteries on the Avalanche, and so we just would run out of power, and I'd have to go fire up the generator. And then it would run out of gas, and I'd have to fire it back up or fill it up. And then I discovered that it was like dual fuel, so I could have used propane. And propane was way more efficient, by the way.
Oh.
Also, the girls' bathroom in the back, the black tank and the gray tank were actually combined. So imagine 3 daughters with toilet paper boondocking. Your tanks fill up like that.
And brushing their teeth. So like gray water, black water, all in one tank. The dumbest design ever.
We learned of like what we don't want. So anybody that's full-time RVing, I would say definitely ask if the black and the gray tank are combined. If you're intending on going boondocking, probably want to avoid that one.
So all this stuff though, I mean, crappy situation, but you learned a lot from it. So glass half full in a sense that you can like see like,
yeah.
Okay, it worked itself out in a lot of ways.
Well, and like she said, like, we've been able to help other families who have gone through the same thing. And
yeah.
So I think we're of the mindset of like, sometimes God allows you to go through things so that you can help someone else walk through that process and be there for them when they need you.
Absolutely. I always say he's like playing chess, not checkers, you know? Like he's up there coordinating things. You might not see it, but it's like 5-6 moves.
You just have to be the first one to go through it.
Right?
It's like, well, you're the guy, sorry.
So guys, if we look back at all of this, 3.5 years, 4 years or so that you guys have been doing this, and I know you mentioned pivoting quite a bit throughout this. I mean, you got to be willing to pivot financially. You got to be willing to pivot, just adjusting on the fly. So I'm assuming that's probably going to be part of your future too. So being willing to pivot. But if you look in the next 2 to 3 years, what should we expect to see from you guys, from the channel? What's the plans for you guys moving forward?
Again, I'm going to let her go first because.
Okay, here's
what
I
want. What you want? Do you know what you want?
So what I think I want. Oh. So what I think I want is a tiny little property with like a cabin down by water, with an RV hookup, so that I can be there when I want and not be there when I don't want.
Okay.
That's what I have in my mind. Now, you let me know if you can find a property like this, because according to Zillow, they don't exist in my price range.
Oh, okay. That's the kicker. Okay. Well, there.
I like little.
So we're not on the same page with that one. I don't want tiny. Like, I would like something bigger than our RV.
Like 1,000 square foot. Oh. You know, like maybe that.
I was thinking more like 1,500, but okay.
We need to get on the
play
same
Xbox
page.
alone.
Yeah.
So like I have 3 daughters. It'd be nice to have my own space and deck it out in Ohio State stuff. You know
sure. What I mean? OH, go Bucks, let's go.
I know. Yeah.
The man cave.
Yeah, right. But also like I enjoy cooking. So if I could have like a nice kitchen.
Remember, we're not going to be there very often. It's just.
I love that he says, I have 3 daughters.
Yeah. But
we have 3 daughters, but he's making sure I have 3 daughters, remember?
We have a lot of...
I love it.
I'm alone here.
We have a lot to talk about every evening. Some days I want to sell it all and get on a boat, sailboat life, but I guess it's really risky. And then there's other days where I want to go world travel. Yeah. And then there's other days where I'm like, definitely I'm going to be a homesteader. And it just depends on the day. It really does. I want everything.
We've all talked about, like, with our kids as well. We would like to get our income to a point where it's residual enough so that we can go overseas and experience historical things overseas.
Oh, sure.
I have Italian heritage, and I think that we can work a way to get an Italian passport. And so to be able to go over there and to stay in Europe would be really cool as well. So
I have this vision of Class C in Europe. You can do this. Other families
I have
are
a vision
doing this.
of resorts in Europe.
I'm sure he does.
The Mediterranean.
Yeah. Like caravanning
Viking
all around
cruises.
Iceland.
Yeah.
Like, that would be pretty
That'd
epic.
be really cool. I got, literally one of my best friends 2 months ago sold everything here in Meridian, Idaho, and went to Spain. So him and his family, he's got 4 kids. Mom and dad are with him, and his wife. So they all moved out there. He's Airbnb-ing his home. That's all his income is. He sold everything. He sold his RVs. He liquidated everything. And, he just Airbnbs his house. He was a real estate agent. That's the only thing that's paying for it out there. And it's cost him $2,600. They live on the beach in a 2,000 square foot home, 2-story right on the beach in Spain. I'm like, wow, that's what they found. So they're going to be there for at least a year. Yeah. So, I mean, you can make it happen. Yeah. And it seems like he's doing the same thing as you got, like making memories. That's what he's all about. He's like, I just want my kids to explore the world when they're little, while we have the means to do so. So, holy cow, I guess it's not that crazy.
No.
It's awesome.
So I think that's our goal in the next, 3-5 years or whatever.
I mean, I want to bring the girls to all 50 states.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond that, we have a lot of...
Yeah, I mean, we got to hit, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma.
If you hit Nebraska, let me know.
Iowa.
I'll tell you what to avoid,
Missouri.
too.
You gotta go to Arkansas too, though, right? We were talking about Arkansas, right?
Yeah. That's our plan, is to go to Arkansas.
Some point.
Yeah.
But if you have to, we don't know.
Yeah.
Cool. Right on.
So, lastly, you've been on the road for 4 years. What are your favorite gadgets, gizmos, add-ons, anything that you've done outside the RV or inside the RV that you brought into the RV world for your lifestyle?
Like brands,
Could be anything. So it could be like a kitchen set, a clam tent, whatever else it may be.
A TV on the door type deal or whatever. Like your little...
A projector.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Good.
Yeah, I love my clam. That I feel like is like an extra outdoor workspace for me. Yeah. Especially when, it's crappy outside. You're still trying to get work done, but the kids don't want to be outside because it's raining. I can go in my clam.
You can close the sides up,
it's like that igloo looking thing, right?
Yeah. It's a
dome looking thing.
Yeah. And she can go outside and she can work and she can diffuse, whatever essential oil she wants to, and we can have a propane fire pit in there and she'll stay warm or whatever. But that's your favorite thing is the clam.
Yep, and you know it. Because I have to bribe him to set it up sometimes, even though it takes 5 minutes.
It's not that. Sometimes it just doesn't fit in the space that we're in. Yeah. Sometimes we're right next to the person, or there's a bush or a tree or a bunch of trees, and it's just impossible to put up. So
it's we're only here for 3 days. So I'm like,
but yeah,
gosh.
I love our rugs, by the way.
Okay.
Outdoor?
Outdoor
yeah.
rugs, yeah.
We have 3 of them. I'm a little obsessed. The Glamp Life rugs.
Yeah.
We've had them from the beginning, and I absolutely love them. They're white on one side and black on the other, and they're super cute. And we know the owner. She's amazing.
Of course, you know the owner. You got their phone number too, probably.
Yeah, let's get them on here. Yeah. Give us a plug on that. We want them on here too.
So, of course, when it comes to RVing and living in it full time, you're going to need a bunch of tools. I know you're talking about gadgets and gizmos and things that you want. But you're going to need tools. And I think the tool that I have been grateful that I've had lately is my impact wrench so that I can change tires much faster.
The impact's the best.
Yeah. Because before I had that 4-sided thing and you'd have to crank it and then spin it and then take it off. And
the tire iron.
Tire iron. Thank you.
That thing.
Four-sided. I was speaking your language. I understand you.
Right, exactly.
I grew up on a farm. So.
Tire iron.
Yeah. That's not funny.
But anyways, an impact wrench for changing your tires is huge. And then
what about your fuel box?
Oh yeah, I actually recently bought. I got a fuel box, and it's a toolbox and a diesel fuel container, like an auxiliary container. So it's a 55-gallon auxiliary tank for my diesel, and then on top is a toolbox where I can put tools in and everything.
No kidding. So this sits in the back of the pickup?
Yeah, it just sits in the back.
It's like a regular toolbox look?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, so it sits in front of the fifth wheel hitch.
Yep.
Wow. That's pretty neat.
It's been amazing, and it like pops up, and it actually fits underneath my tonneau cover, which is really cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So that's been a game changer, because then you can just keep driving. And if you stop, you can stop if you want to like eat lunch or whatever, but you don't have to go into like a nasty like truck stop or anything. You can stop at a nice rest stop and have lunch and just keep going. Yeah.
One thing I would say to like weekenders, I see it all the time. Like we were literally just around a family and their daughter almost walked herself in the camper. RV lock has been amazing. We've put them on all of our campers that we've had, but it's just keyless entry.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I feel like that's one upgrade that you would think everybody would do, but they don't. And it's been really good to have.
Really good point. Yeah.
I mean, there's a bunch of different RV upgrades that you could put on your RV just to make it just safer and a better ride and all sorts of stuff. Like we do love like the Morai products and everything like that. We love they make great pin boxes and their suspension systems and everything like that. We actually have that currently on our Fusion too. So
D-Max disc brakes. Mm-hmm. So they allow your RV to stop 50% faster. And we almost hit a deer in North Cascades National Park, and that is the thing that saved us. Hands down. We were like inches within hitting this deer. We got those put on shortly after our RV accident because it's really scary when you're hauling 20,000 pounds behind you and you're unsure if you can stop in time.
That's all I go on,
Yeah.
Do you have affiliate links for any of this stuff? Are they in your bio? Are they?
Yeah, RV Lock.
RV Lock is, yes.
RV Snap has another one. I do have affiliate link there.
So the RV Snap pads are basically like shoes, rubber shoes that go on the jack, the feet.
Yeah.
And so when they come down, it has a wider space and it's like a non-slippery surface so that it, it also helps prevent from being, shocked by lightning.
Grounding.
Yeah, grounding.
Very nice.
Yeah. So.
And all on my website, you should be able to see on our discounts.
On the website,
if a company's given us a discount, I have it on that website.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think if there's anything else like that. We were like, oh my gosh, if we didn't have this.
I know.
Oh, we actually have a Halo View backup camera. I know like everyone may like the Furrion thing, but like Halo View is like 4K. You can see it clearly, and it also records. And it'll loop record. So like once you start it up again, it will erase what it already recorded and start recording over that.
What's the purpose?
So basically like you want this because if you get rear-ended, you have video evidence of someone.
If you don't have a witness like we did.
Yeah, we got lucky. So you have video evidence of someone who rear-ended you. Yeah.
But it only re-records once, so don't go back and reverse accidentally.
What?
So I heard when you records,
is
there like a memory bank of recordings?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, it doesn't record over it.
Right.
Okay. I was like, well, if it records over it, then
it just starts
reversing.
Yeah,
I kind of got what you were saying there.
I was like, you're gonna lose it all.
Oh shoot, I did it in reverse.
No!
So it records.
Crap! No witness.
Yeah.
All right, well, it is what it is.
Yeah, so it just records fresh every time.
That makes sense.
Okay. Okay. Well, I said lastly last time, but I lied. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You guys would consider yourselves normal people, right? Normal people
Absolutely.
living a normal lifestyle. I mean, especially beforehand, right? You're not like extravagant. I have, trust fund money, trust fund baby type people, right? Okay. Normal people can do this, guys.
Yep.
Yes.
They're one of the normal people that do so. There's plenty of them. We also talked to several other ones that do so. But my curiosity is, what's your why behind doing it? Like, why leave the lifestyle of home, leaving all your stuff in the kitchen, selling his stuff in the kitchen, selling all your furniture that you like?
Yeah.
Why did you decide to say, we're doing it?
I think it's wrapped around our brand, Peoples and Places. For us, like, it's all about the people, meeting the people on the road. We often get to go and, meet new people at campgrounds, but also visit people that we've known all over the United States. Like, we went and camped in my friend Megan and Jason's driveway. And that's really cool. But it's all about the places too. So we get to go and actually explore the United States and see all the beauty out there. And there's just so much to see that most people in their lifetime will never visit all 50 states. And so I feel like it's a gift that we're giving our daughters. But most people work their entire lives, 40 years, the grind, right?
Yeah.
Or the American dream.
The hump.
I call it the hum. Yeah, and we, like she said, we come across people that are advanced in years, I'll just say that, who are retired, who said, man, you are doing it the right way. Like, you're doing it when you're young, when you're feeling good, when you're being able to hike and go see these things, and your kids are young and they're experiencing all these things. Like, you're doing it the way that I wish I would have done it. And so I think they've kind of helped my why, because I'm sure if I didn't experience those kinds of things, or if I didn't hear that, I'm sure that I would probably think that, like, living in a home again and being planted somewhere would be a better option. But I think our why happened when COVID happened and we were locked down and we just got sick of being in our house.
I wasn't going to be told you can't travel.
Yeah.
So it was like, I tell Rob, it's like,
they're going to arrest me if I go across state lines?
No, I want you to think about all the ways you can, not all the ways you can't. In a hard situation, right? So if we're told we can't fly or we can't go on cruises, then what can we do? And that really was a defining moment in our life. And the funny thing is, I said I would never homeschool, right? And here we are, we homeschooled together, and it's definitely we've pivoted on how we do things and we work together as a team. But if we would not have taken that leap of faith to pull the kids out of school and say, you know what, we're going to figure this out, and we're not going to put you back in after you're allowed to go back in. We're going to figure this out. We would never have come upon RV life. It wouldn't have even been an option. So I think if I could wrap it up in a bow, it's literally taking lemons and making lemonade in so many scenarios. And we tell that to our girls all the time. This is life.
Yeah.
Make the best of it.
As far as we know, we only get one of them.
That's right.
So I bet it's tasty lemonade.
Yeah. Always.
Yeah, living a good life, living a good one.
And everything always works out. And that's the thing. I think sometimes you can lose sight in those hard moments, even last night, with everything we've gone through with our slide that just broke. It's you can really go down a rabbit hole of oh my gosh, well, what if, and how are we going to do this and stuff. And yet every single time it always works out. God always comes through for us.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
He shows up. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, guys, thank you very much for joining us. I tag myself as the RV voice, but really the RV voice is these guys that are actually doing the full timing thing, and also the manufacturers that are bringing on here. They are the RV voice, right? They talk about the manufacturer. They talk about everything that they do to that RV for people like so to be full-time RVers or even part-time RVers. It is what it is. Shane, thank you so much for co-hosting today.
Appreciate
Rob
you.
and Ashley, thank you so much. Peoples and Places, Instagram, TikTok, peoplesandplaces.com. They have a, what was that, ebook checklist to how to downsize to become a full-time RVer. And if you need an RV, check out bishes.com. Follow us, follow them, and we'll see you next time. Stay tuned for more from the RV Voice.